Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can of course follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, where we have lots of fun bantering, and especially what's going on with Manchester United. I can only make jokes at Ollie's expense. Ollie, what the fuck has Tyson Fury, mate, got to do with being spanked by Liverpool 5-0 at Old Trafford? This was his analogy. It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous analogy. It was cringe. The whole press conference was cringe. Now, we're not going to go over the entire thing, but I think that was the worst fucking thing about it. Of course, it's game day today. It's match day. But Ollie didn't stop at the press conference, because he quickly ran his little butt over to Sky Sports News Studios to do an interview. Or Sky Sports Studios, and I think obviously this game may be live on Sky Sports, am I right? Maybe that's why he's done the interview, and we'll see the full interview before that game. But basically he was saying he's not going to sacrifice his past 18 years at Manchester United and have them kind of deemed in the past few games. Basically, he's not talking about Manchester United. He's talking about his own fucking legacy. In other words, I refuse to quit with this cloud hanging over me. So he doesn't care about Manchester United. He doesn't care about the fans or the players. He cares about his own legacy. That's the truth. Otherwise, he would have resigned a while back. He would have resigned at the end of last season. He knew he got us to second, and that was the best he could take us. He couldn't take us any further. Instead of being a gentleman and the person we actually mistakenly thought he was, he didn't resign. And that he's saying now to the media, I refuse to go now with this cloud looming over me. Why? Because it's tainted his legacy. And his Manchester United legacy is all he cares about. Because as I said yesterday, he fucking loves the prestige of being Manchester United manager, and no one's going to take it away from him. And now he's in a scenario now where he can go on a winning run and get away with it. But here's the thing, everyone. It doesn't matter how many games he wins. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if he actually plays the good fucking players instead of the Cabbage Patch dolls that he's been picking. But that's not going to happen anyway, is it? But let me go back to my original point before we start that. That's my point. I lost my train of thought, but that's my point. He doesn't care about Manchester United. And that's my original point. I remember now. 80% of Manchester United supporters want him to leave the club. If he wins today and beats Atalanta and beats City, 80% of people will still want him to leave the club, because they know he's not good enough and he's just living off his players. And recently, his players are running on empty because they no longer can bullshit pretending they know what he's fucking talking about when he sends them out to play a game of football. It's not the players' fault. People like Wayne Rooney saying the players have to look at themselves. They're all fucking defending him. Well, sorry, Wayne, actually, mate, I'm not going to fucking listen to you after what you've been fucking up to, right? Your poor wife, that's all I'm going to say. And I mean, I'm surprised no one's going for gigs for any comments, although I'm not surprised seeing what he's bloody accused of as well, allegedly. So these are people with questionable characters telling us, ordinary working class people, that we should blame the players. That's what they're doing. But let's go to the elephant in the room, because pundits have said it, and us people who are apparently the lowest of the low, according to the Nevilles, have said it as well. That all he does is pick his favourites, because he doesn't have the balls, he doesn't have the glass fibre to actually pick the best players that can make the best team. So yesterday and the day before, we had our club captain, the worst club captain in Manchester United history, by the way, Maguire. Harry Maguire. His name's Maguire. Harry Maguire. So he was in a video doing an interview telling us how terrible it all is, saying basically what normally fans would want to hear. But fans don't want to hear it. So, and he was at the press conference yesterday, I think. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. So he's done a lot of talking. What does this actually mean? This means Maguire is not getting the captaincy stripped from him. This means he's not going to be dropped, which means in turn he's not going to drop his favourites either. I don't know who he drops from the team that played against Liverpool, because I don't think he's going to do it. And he'll spin it that I'm going to play the players that let the club down, let the team down, let me down so they can redeem themselves. That's the idea. We'll take a look at Tottenham in a minute, because they're not doing well. They've got a brand new manager, the former Wolves manager. Tottenham's had a terrible summer, by the way. They went to manager after manager after manager, and they were being turned down by elite managers. No one wants to go there. For some reason, the relationship with Jose Mourinho and Spurs fell down. Of course, this is not a Man United, this is not a Spurs show, by the way, but we'll be talking about Spurs. So Maguire making statements means Maguire isn't being dropped. Maguire should have the captaincy stripped of him. If Ollie was serious about saving his job and doing his job as manager, which is putting the best team out to go out representing Manchester United, Maguire would be stripped of the captaincy and he would be dropped. Victor Lindelof and Bailey should be the defenders, or Varane. I'm worried about Varane because Varane's a great acquisition, but he's clearly injured and he's being rushed back. So obviously, he's not going to go Bailey and Varane. He's going to go Lindelof and Varane. And I'm okay with that. I'm just worried about, it's obvious that Rashford was rushed back, which is terrible for Rashford and the club and the team and for the fans. But it's cruel to rush a player back because they could get injured again. So clearly Varane's being rushed back out of desperation. Personally, I don't know why he doesn't trust Bailey. Well, look, Bailey can get carried away sometimes, but he's a pretty good defender. Him and Victor Lindelof had a great relationship for a brief time under Jose Mourinho. I mean, they're two very good central defensive players. And but anyway, I'm okay with Victor Lindelof and Varane. That will be good. And I mean, then you have to decide who you play as fullbacks. I really like Telles. Telles is another one. When I've seen him play, the way he bombs up and down, I think Telles is a sensational player. He's had a few injuries, of course, so we can't blame Ollie for that. But I still don't think he's played enough as many games as he should have. So I like Telles as well. Now the midfield, of course, the central midfield positions are where the issues are. The fans know it, and the pundits know it. Everybody knows it. And so, he's insisted with Fred and McTominay, which clearly doesn't work. Everybody can see it works. Your granny knows it doesn't work. Your uncle, your mum's bit on the side knows that McFred doesn't work. But he insists on it. There's so many central midfield scenarios you could have. And it's weird to me because I think Matic and VDB in the centre of midfield is perfect. One's very defensive and the other one can control the ball with great assertive passing. He can put, it's like putting a knife through butter, Van der Beek's passing. It's amazing. So you've got that element as well. Then you've got, we've got an embarrassment of riches compared to wingers. You could put anyone out there. He bought Jadon Sancho. Why did he buy Jadon Sancho and not use him? Why? Because Jadon Sancho probably is more attacking than defensive, and we know this manager is all about his own self-preservation, and that's why he's such a negative, defensive, counter-attacking manager. Now, since the day Paul Pogba came here, before he kicked the ball for us again in his second term as United, as a United player, when Mourinho brought him back, we were all saying that at Juventus, he was playing in a withdrawn role just behind the striker, like Eric Cantona used to do so effectively. That is Pogba's best position. He's not a central midfielder. He's not Patrick Vieira or Roy Keane. And this is the mistake a lot of people make about Pogba. Put him in the hole there. He will get you goals and you will win more games than you lose everyone. But it hasn't been done either by Mourinho or by Solskjaer. So both guilty. So they've ruined Pogba's career. Pogba could have been really successful. And people should say, well, wherever he plays on the pitch, he should be just as effective. Listen, everyone's got their strengths and their weaknesses. But if you're going to buy someone like Pogba and spend 90 fucking million euros on him, then you play him to his fucking strengths. I mean, why didn't Fergie play Cantona in central defence? Because it would be a nightmare. Although knowing Cantona, he would have been successful at it. That guy he could be an actor, he painted everything. I mean, the guy was multi-talented, love him, as we all do. But let's go back to modern day United. And so you could, like today, if he was intelligent, but he's not going to do it, he'll never do it. And Pogba's suspended anyway, isn't he? I think, yeah, he's suspended. But you could actually do that. You could have Pogba behind a striker. You could have him behind El Matador, which would be fucking amazing. I always call him El Matador because I forget his actual name. I'm crap with names. If you're a follower of me for some time, you know I forget the easiest of names. Anyway, and there's, you know, we've got quite a few, we've got really good strikers at the club, and you could choose anyone to play in those positions. So, and really you could throw a dice and choose who plays in the attacking roles. But in terms of the central midfield, that's the key element. That's where he's been going wrong. He's been insisting. Now, I was watching Mark Goldbridge the other day, and he goes, but if he does change, what's the point? You know, no one's going to respect him for changing, and no one's going to respect him for sticking with McFred. But I disagree with Mark here. Love him as much as I do, because this is what I think. I think if he was to play VDB today, and Matic, or whoever, but VDB especially, and had them playing in central midfield for a consistency of games, I would respect that, because that would be him being man enough to say, you know what, I've been stubborn and I've been wrong. Because he doesn't do everything wrong, Ollie. There's a lot of things he does right. But that's such an important position in the pitch to get wrong. And today would be a great time, after all the talk about all of us wanting him out of the club, and I'm absolutely, certainly Ollie out at this point. But things can change and minds can change if he starts acting like a Manchester United manager and not like a little boy who needs other people to defend him. Today he could make a big statement and say, you know what, I was wrong. I'm sorry, McTominay. I'm sorry, Fred. You know, especially McTominay, because he's supposed to be United DNA, right? That's the problem. This is the problem he's getting in. They're obsessed with making him this kind of Nicky Butt, if you like. But it's not going to work out. He is a good player, McTominay. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I just don't think he works in the centre of midfield right now. He would need the right partner. I don't think he's got that. And maybe McTominay would work better with someone like Van der Beek. Maybe that would work. But he hasn't tried it out. So there are combinations you can try. I'm not saying McTominay should just be cast out, but he won't try them. So today is not just a game where he has to win, and he does have to win everyone. No question, a draw is not good enough. It's about the team. That's what I'm going to be watching, and I know most of you will be watching out for that as well. If he was to play a different central midfield pairing, I would say at least he's admitting he's wrong. But it couldn't just be for one game. He'd have to do it consistently, because if he's just doing it because his job's at stake, it's pointless. So today is a huge game, and Spurs are in a lot of trouble as well. They're not consistent. They've got a new manager. He hasn't bedded the team together yet, but I tell you what, I'd rather have the Spurs manager than our manager. And I said the other day, I think we'll win this game. Maybe 1-0, 2-1, 3-1. Bloody hell, mate, you're giving all the scenarios there. Anything? No. I think that they're the kind of scorelines that could happen. Because Tottenham are not playing with confidence. We're not playing with confidence either, and it's been a hard week for our players, but our players know they have to perform. This is Manchester United. United need to do well here, not just in the result, but in the performance. Spurs are under pressure, but against this Manchester United team and manager, they're under no pressure. Now that may help Spurs, but they can certainly afford to lose this game more than we can, in terms of in the public eye, in terms of the media gaze, and all of that. So I think we'll win, and I want us to win. But let me be absolutely clear before I sign off for today. There's a lot of you that want us to lose, so there's more pressure on him and the owners and the club. I totally can get behind that. Now, I'm going to feel really weird if we win. There'll be 10% of me that's kind of feels underwhelmed that we won. and maybe a little bit disappointed because I want this team and these players and this manager and these owners to be under as much pressure as possible. So they start doing the right things. But also I understand we can't keep losing fucking games because he's losing and he's not leaving. So we can't keep on carrying on like this. That's why I want us to win. And because I'm a Man United fan, it doesn't mean if you want us to lose that you're not a Man United fan. That's not what I'm saying. Those pricks out there saying that are just these kind of, oh yes, I support United, win, lose or draw. Can't stand those people. But anyway, if you want us to lose, I understand. We're still friends, right? Shake on it. Not a problem. But I want us to win and I think we will win. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, as I said at the end of yesterday's video, win, lose or draw, this manager isn't going to win anything for us. He's not going to progress us. And Manchester United are in a very depressing, dark era of their legacy and existence. This has been the MUFC Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, and more important than anything else, please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow on Sunday, where we'll be reacting to this very game today. Wow, and I can't wait to react to you to this game, because I tell you what, anything could happen here. A win makes it interesting, a defeat makes it look interesting. Well, it is, a defeat is interesting, isn't it? Because he's under more fucking pressure. And, you know, if he wins, that doesn't mean his problems are solved or our problems as a club are solved, but it'll be an interesting reaction tomorrow, reacting to Spurs versus Manchester United. And I can't wait, so please come back tomorrow for that. Until then, goodbye.